with the report saying that a global drop in meat consumption is vital to avoid devastating consequences. The authors state a substantial reduction of impacts would only be possible with a substantial worldwide diet change away from animal products.
Oh my God, milk will do this, my butter will do that. And then all of a sudden they take a stand against the government. They realize the government is harming the people.
Yes.
And intentionally getting rid of the good foods.
And I have been assigned to show you certain selected histobug highlights from the past.
But everything is perfect now, and everything will always be perfect.
Centuries ago, in primitive times, before the dawn of civilization, there were things that would be inconceivable to us today. The superstitious primitives continue to rely upon a quite useless class of technicians called doctors. Unpleasant and even revolting as they sometimes are. Eating the actual flesh of animals. And even collecting into groups called families. A pervasively immoral concept of pre-civilized times.
Did the primitive females actually...
Yes. Primitive females gave viviparous birth to young.
like animals?
Yes, physiologically, exactly like animals. I understand your reaction. Perhaps we should take a brief soma break.
If fed a piece of meat, it may take a full week to reopen. Seen in time-lapse photography, the trap plates press tightly together. Digestive juices are secreted onto the meat and can be seen at the bottom of the leaf. The result is most dramatic.
And it shows all the products that come from cows. So it's not just the steak on your plate, but soaps, detergents, waxes, pharmaceuticals, plastics. There are things in modern building materials that come from animal products. Hydraulic brake fluid in airplanes contains something that comes from cows. And there is a membrane in the telephone that vibrates so you can talk on the telephone that's got beef gelatin in it. So even if you are not eating meat, you can't take the high road and say that you're not dependent on the products of killed animals, because we all are. And in the past, even more so than today, we needed to kill animals not only to get food, but also for bones that we used for tools, tendons that we used for thread, hides to keep us warm, leather to make tents and utensils and carrying baskets and things like that. So mankind, all mankind has always been dependent on killing animals. It's just a fact of living in the physical world. And of course we do this with reverence and gratitude, but that's a fact of life.
Although one fly may escape, Sundus are among the most sophisticated of all death traps. Two bands find their way onto a long-leaf sundew, and number one, attracted by the sundew's color and the scent of its sugar-sweet droplets, is getting a hearty meal. Now the ant has discovered its danger and makes violent efforts to free itself. For its size, it's very powerful, but it's fighting against one of the strongest glues in nature, controlled by a plant that responds to every movement of its prey. The ant twitches in its death throes. Already the sundew has released digestive juices. The plant has begun to absorb nourishment from its victim. To help with absorption, other tentacles curl inward to envelop the end. In this long-leaf species of sundew, only the tentacles move, but here we see a round-leaf sundew closing on a mosquito.
To take the scene on anti-nature conditioning. Charming scene of little children revolted by fresh flowers. The implication is that nature nausea conditioning is necessary to keep people from enjoying the countryside and thus under-consuming.
But that's true.
Quite besides the point.
I just wanted to show why nature nausea training is one of our most recent improvements in...
You see? Recent implies past. Improvement implies progress. And if the present is perfect, then there can't be any progress, of course. And even the word why, that's the most dangerous of all. It raises the whole question of purpose. No, I'm afraid it would never do to let an ordinary audience watch anything quite as dangerous as your doctor show.
But the test audience watched it. They all liked it. You can see right there.
Quite meaningless, since they've been conditioned to like anything that's shown.
In this case, the leaf itself curls round in its embrace of death.
Plants also exhibit rhythmic movements similar to those in an animal's heart. In some plants, the pulsations can be visually observed, while in others, it can be detected only through electrical devices. The upward and downward movements are recorded on the smoked glass plate. Similar curves are obtained by recording the movements of a frog's heart. When poison is dropped on a leaf, the plant gives a death cry, and its pulsatory movement stops. Excitation, brought about by a stimulus applied at a point on the plant, is transmitted to other parts of the plant. The same thing occurs in an animal's body. When a child puts his finger in a flame, before he has time to cry out, the arm is automatically withdrawn. This is because an ingoing strong stimulus reaching a nerve center is reflected into an outgoing impulse through a new path, causing the hand's withdrawal. A similar reflex arrangement has been discovered in the mimosa plant. The excitation due to a stimulus applied at one end of the leaf first reached the main palvinus and then is reflected back to the other leaves. Observing the world of plants, he used to say, "They are our new comrades, whose life runs its silent course. They record their reactions without sound, but our eyes can see the stirrings of their life and the pangs of their death."
324 Fellows of London's Royal Society. In the same hall where Darwin, Huxley and Faraday made history, the learned gathering listened with polite interest as the obscure Indian scientist described his pioneering measurements of radio waves. The object of his future experiments was to prove through the design and use of highly specialized machines that all the characteristic responses exhibited by animal tissue are also to be found in plants. The Bose experiments were denied publication by the Royal Society. By daring to suggest that plants have a sensory system similar to humans, Bose offended the learned members.
And now the strange story of the evolution of death traps reaches an even stranger ending. Or is it a beginning? The seed of a shepherd's curse has fallen. Future generations dormant within. As if a prelude of perils to come, seeds immediately attract the attention of hungry creatures. The vast majority of all seeds that reach the ground are fated to be devoured by animals. But the shepherd's curse has evolved a mechanism to beat the odds. Its seeds attract soil creatures, but then they immobilize them with slime, kill, and digest them. fortified with a banquet of decaying worms and mites. Their first battle over.
What sort of demons? Anything at all. Rocks, trees, animals, sometimes strangers. Like you.
Especially in the blood of children. This is one of their favorite things to do. And so all elites do this. They believe it makes them beautiful. And they will slit the child's throat right there at the bathtub, pour it in. These women find it beautiful to watch the child's blood spraying out. Then they get in the blood bath. Okay? Now, see, I never really even got far on here. I just thought since it's mainstream news right now, British royalty dined on human flesh.
The Aztecs, the last rulers to control the Valley of Mexico, dismembered and ate their victims for a further 300 years.
The Aztec calendar remembers 16 major events each year, and almost all of them involve not only human sacrifice in vast numbers, but involve the consumption of people by the priests.
Aztec paintings portray the whole gamut of slaughter. By some accounts, 20,000 people were sacrificed and consumed by priests and dignitaries every year.
Tony the Tiger.
What outfit from Tiger?
Sugar Frosted Flakes by Kellogg out of Battle Creek.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of Sugar Frosted Flakes? Those big crisp flakes of corn with that secret roasted in sugar frosting? They're right